Go ahead and start recording. Okay. It's just starting to arrive and get settled on our seat. If anybody else joins us, I'll just click them in when they get here. And if you're watching the recording of this, the Spotify playlist is called Thrive Over Survive. And if you want to play along, we'll start the first song in 3, 2, 1. Just take a second to get settled in your seat. If you're watching the replay of this and you want to grab some things for later on, maybe you can do that right now. Just a strap if you'd like and a block. But if you don't need those things, or if you already have them, just start to settle in. Just feeling your tailbones connected to the mat, your feet, the tops of your feet are probably touching the mat if you're in easy pose. So let your shoulders just gently roll back and down your spine. And just get connected with your breathing. Just notice what's going on. And as you're noticing your breath, perhaps you want to just let it just deepen a little bit. If it's in your chest, maybe aim to kind of feel it in your torso or down in your belly. If you need to put a hand on your belly or something just to kind of feel the movement of it going just a little bit deeper, feel free. Just notice the stillness. And then letting your hand drop back down to your knees. On an inhale, raise your shoulders up to meet your ears. And exhale, roll them down your back. They come away from your ears and drop down. Inhale, bringing them back up. And exhale, just dropping down your back. Just do this in sync with your breath. Inhale as they come up. And exhale as they come down. And just start to feel kind of a flowy rhythm. And every time maybe you feel yourself grow a little bit taller, just one last time wherever you're at. And then on an inhale, just grow tall again. And exhale, drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Inhale back to center. Exhale, left ear to left shoulder. You're feeling just a gentle stretch inside of your neck. Inhale to center. Exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder. Inhale, center. One last time. Exhale, right ear, right shoulder. Inhale, center. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder. And inhale, center. Inhale, arms come up over your head. And exhale, twist to the left. Right hand's in front, left hand's in back. Inhale, coming back to center. Arms come up. And exhale, twist the opposite direction. Inhale back to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. One last round of each side. Exhale, twist. And inhale, center. Exhale, twist. And inhale, center. And your hands can come back down to your knees. Just getting settled again. On an inhale, roll your shoulders back, move your heart forward, chin goes to the sky, kind of doing a seated cat. Just stretch. And exhale, everything rounds over. A seated cow. And inhale, stretch your heart, your chin, everything out and up. And exhale, round it all over. One last time. Inhale, heart lifts, chin lifts. And exhale, everything rounds. And inhale, come back to center. And on an exhale, just round your whole body down and around like you're doing circles with your body. Inhale as you start to come back up. And exhale as you go around. We're warming up our hip sockets, just creating some movement in our torso. So you're just making little circles with your body. Exhale is generally when we go down, and inhale when we come back up. But whatever feels right in your breath. And after you've done a few, maybe you want to switch directions. Exhaling, coming down the other way. And inhale, coming back up. Just taking one more round on your own breath. And coming up to seated. And now taking your feet and putting them out in front of you, or you can do one at a time if you'd like. If you want to kind of sit like this, you're welcome to. Just starting with your left ankle, left foot, we're just making some circles. So you're just pointing and circling and coming back and flexing. You're just making some foot circles, warming your joints up. And going back the other way. And we're going to switch feet. And again, just pointing and making circles, flexing on your way back. You might switch directions halfway through. Just thinking about how many times we leave out our feet and our ankles when we're thinking about moving our body, about how stuff gets stuck in our energy system. And when that feels good, just reaching your wrists out and making some circles with them. Warming stuff up, however it feels good to you. I can't take huge circles with my wrists. This doesn't feel right. So listen to your body. Notice what your body's telling you to do. And then maybe putting a hand out like a stop sign and just gently pulling back on your fingers, just to give a gentle stretch to your wrist. And then flipping them down and kind of pulling in. So stretching the back of your hand. Wonderful. And then going on to the other side, putting out like a stop sign, just gently pulling back. And folding forward. Just bringing your hands back down to your seat. Let's take a second to kind of check in. Notice what needs to be warmed up and just move with it. For example, I kind of feel tightness in my low back, so I'm going to sway just a little bit. If you feel tightness in your shoulders, maybe take some more shoulder circles. And this leads into the intention we're going to set for today. Although you're certainly welcome to set any intention that speaks to you. The one I offer for us today is thriving, not surviving. This is the first yoga class of the year, and just kind of learning to tune in a little bit more to what do we need to just feel good, to feel steady, to thrive, to stay firm in our recovery. And as we just reflect on that for a second, just going to sync up breath just a little bit. So whenever you're ready, we're going to inhale for 4, and hold for 4, then exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale 8. 2 more rounds. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 8. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8, letting it all out. Wonderful. Coming over onto hands and knees. So remember, wrists stacked under your shoulders to create kind of a firm base. Knees under hips. So you're really making a tabletop with your body. And on the inhale, chest lifts back into a cat. This time we're not seated. And exhale, rounds over into cow. Whereas I was recently pointed out, looks more like a camel. So I'm not sure if I'm going to call it camel now. Inhale, cat, heart lifts, chin lifts. Exhale, cow or camel. One last time. Coming back to tabletop. Inhale, left hand comes up and you open up your side body for a big twist and stretch. And exhale, thread your arm through the needle. So you're coming down on your left shoulder, palm is up. And just stretch out. You'll feel stretch in your side body, your shoulder. Just breathe. And on an exhale, coming back to tabletop. I'm just readjusting. Inhale, right arm opens all the way up, big twist and stretch. And exhale, thread the needle the other way. So you come down on your right shoulder, right palm facing up. And just stretch, just breathe, about 3 breaths here. And on an exhale, coming back to tabletop. And widen your knees just a little bit so you can push back into child's pose, which is where we sit back on our heels and we can stay right here. We can come all the way down to the ground, forehead to the mat. You can stretch your arms out in front of you if you'd like. Just really sink into it. And with every pause, as you stay here breathing in child's pose, with every pause, just kind of thinking about what it feels like to pause in life and how that supports you thriving, not just living in survival mode. When that feels good, coming back up to tabletop. And taking one more round of that cat and cow. So just inhale as you lift your heart and your chest up. And exhale, round over. And coming back to tabletop, tip your toes so that your toes are kind of like this, where they're your feet are flexed, toes are on the ground. And we're gonna imagine an imaginary string pulling our hips all the way up to the sky. So using that sensation to kind of imagine coming up into downward facing dog. And come right back down on the exhale. Doing one more cat and cow. So inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, round over. Coming back to tabletop, toes are tipped. And imagine pulling your center all the way to the sky into down dog. And coming back down to the ground. Move your wrists if you need to. If they've gotten out of position, just kind of put them where you need them to go. And one more time, last round. Inhale, cat, heart lifts, chin lifts. And exhale, cow. Back to tabletop. Tip your toes. And your center goes all the way up into the sky. And back down to tabletop. And just take another child's pose. You can widen your knees if you need to, just a little. And go back to rest. And when that feels complete, coming back up, and this time kind of sit back on your seat. And the easiest way to explain this next one is your knees are bent, but we're going to put them out about the width of the mat. So they're not too far, but about the width of the mat. And just kind of let them fall over to the left. So you're going to notice they kind of look like two 90-degree angles. And if you'd like, you can stay right here. If you'd like a little bit more sensation, you can kind of fall over that front leg just as far as you need to really feel it in your that front leg's hip flexor. So I might need to put my hands out a little bit wider to kind of dip into it. I might need to go in front of you, whatever feels right. And just breathe and release. Another thing about surviving is our root chakra, the bottom place, the very bottom of our spine, our torso is really responsible for our survival. Like our, how do I just be here in the world? How do I cope? How do I live? So that's why so much of our emotional stuff gets kind of caught up in our hips, and why it can be really helpful to kind of just breathe and sink into some of these hip releases. And when that feels good, just kind of coming back up and bringing your hips back to that widened stance. Just getting settled here. And then you can let them fall over into 90-degree angles the other way. Once you got that settled and it feels good, you might need to make some adjustments depending on, like, one hip might be more flexible than the other. Do it. And then if you'd like to, you can fall over that front leg. on an exhale. Just really listen to your body. I know sometimes just changing a hand position can make you feel something a little bit differently. I put my hands out to the side. A lot of people in this pose do it in front of them. You could put your hands behind you, like whatever you need to find the sensation you're looking for. The sensation I'm looking for is just release, a little bit of a stretch, something I can kind of sink into and let my muscles let go of some stuff. And on an exhale, coming back up. And we're going to kind of just put our feet in front of us. So you can take a second, especially if that was kind of rough on your hips, just kind of move around, readjust, shake it out a little bit, wiggle around. It's good to move any of this energy we release through your body just by wiggling sometimes. And now leaving your right foot stretched out and your left foot bent, or if I'm backwards on the camera, that might be your left leg stretched out, your right foot bent, however I look. Wherever you want to start, doesn't matter, whatever leg you want. And then the bent leg, we're going to start with our hand behind us, kind of like a kickstand. So it's just kind of supporting us. You want it to feel like a plate, like a grip that you could put a little bit of weight on if you need to, that back kickstand. And the front arm is just going to come up. Just kind of a stretch to the side body. And back down on the exhale. One more time, using the, let's have our, yeah, perfect. And coming back down. And now switch arms so that the one you just moved is the kickstand. So you leave your legs where they were. Perfect, yeah. And use that as the kickstand now. And only if you want to, you can stay right here and just kind of like stretch out a little bit that way. If you want to, we can play a little and go into baby wild thing, which is just pushing our hips up like we would with a bridge and just coming up. And sometimes it feels kind of funky and you can come down. And sometimes it feels exhilarating. And if you liked it, you can come back up and bring your arm up with you. Oh, it's a big stretch. And then you come back down. Gives me a little endorphin rush. So if you want to, one more time, only if you want to. And then we're going to take that back kickstand arm and just bring it down. Wonderful. And just take a stretch here. Again, if you wanted your strap, if you wanted to go in a little bit deeper, this would be a place you could use it. You can hold onto your ankle, your foot, whatever feels right, and just stretch. You're feeling that stretch kind of in your low back, your side body, your hamstring, everything. Just release here. Two more breaths. And coming back up to center. And just bring your feet to meet together. So the soles of your feet, they can be out here just hanging out. If you want a little bit more of a stretch, you can bring them in closer. And just breathe here. Just feeling that stretch kind of between your, I guess that'd be between your adductors and your hip flexor, maybe somewhere in that crease of your hip. Maybe you want to move around. Maybe you want to come back on your hands like that, whatever feels good to you. And when that feels good, switching legs. So whatever leg was bent last time, make it the straight one. and bring the other leg in bent. And the bent leg is where we want the kickstand. Perfect, yeah. And just start here. You can just kind of stretch up, just breathing as you kind of stretch up the side body, just to kind of get yourself warmed up, connecting with your breath. Just on your own breath, bringing it up and down. And then when you're ready to play, just making that kickstand, make sure it feels good, and bringing your hips up like you would in a bridge, and just stretching up and over. Baby wild thing, and coming back down. We'll do it 2 more times if you want to. Inhale, coming up just as far as you want. And coming down. You're really feeling your hips open up, just kind of almost like a back bend in a way with only one hand. And just coming up on your breath and exhaling back down when you feel ready. And after that last one, whatever is your last one, taking your kickstand up, over, and exhaling down to the stretched leg. We're going to take about 5 breaths here also. And coming back up whenever you feel complete. And bringing your feet in together again one more time. Again, just doing whatever you feel like you need. Maybe it's leaning forward a little bit into the stretch. Maybe it's moving around. Maybe it's going back on your hands. Whatever you're listening to in your body. That's part of moving from surviving to thriving. I kind of think of it like moving up from the first chakra to the second, which the second one's all about pleasure, what feels good, what feels right. So you're just kind of noticing what your body needs. Wonderful. Whenever you feel like that part is complete, I think we're gonna stretch our legs out in front of us. If you wanted the strap, if you wanted to go a little bit deeper, you're welcome to. You totally don't need it. You just go in as much as you want to, and I'll show you how to use the strap. So just kind of sitting in our L stance. So we're just kind of looking like an L. Our feet are flexed to finish out the L, and just rolling our shoulders back. And you can just hang out right here. This still is active. It's still aligning everything and helping to move whatever our body needs us to move. And then on an exhale, we're going to bend over just a little bit. If you have your strap and want to put it around the soles of your feet, and then using our arms, engaged arms, to pull us in a little bit deeper. The goal is not to go completely flat. It's just to kind of feel a little bit more of a stretch in your hamstrings. Sometimes you can help that out by keeping your feet flexed. Sometimes that feels good and it feels like it can pull you down a little bit more, but only do what you feel is right. And just release here. We're going to hold this for about 10 breaths. So whatever you need. And on your 10th breath, just coming back up to seated. And slowly start to kind of let yourself come back down. You might choose to kind of do it one vertebrae at a time. You might want to come into boat just to kind of engage your abs for a second, not a long second, just however long feels good. And then release it all the way down. Oh, my back just cracked. That was wonderful. You always get those nice little moments when you take it slow. And if you still have your strap, you can loop it around one of the soles of your feet if you'd like. Totally don't have to. But just gently pulling that leg up, keeping your foot flexed, and just pull it to the point where you're starting to really feel engagement in this back part of your leg. So your hamstring, maybe your calf a little bit. You're just feeling a gentle stretch, a gentle pull. And just come to that point and don't go any further. Don't try to pull it all the way to your face or anything like that. Just notice where that point is that feels like it's just on the edge, and just stay here for about 5 breaths. And bringing your foot back down, and you can switch feet however you want to do that. Getting readjusted. And just bringing that foot up. Again, just pulling it to that point where it kind of feels like, oh, that might be too much, and backing up just a little bit. And then just finding just that perfect place that feels right to you, and just settling in for about 5 more breaths. And just releasing whenever it feels right. You can set the strap aside if you'd like right now. And bringing your knees in, so bending them and bringing them in as we prepare for the bridge series. Just do whatever your body needs right now. Maybe it needs to move around a bit. Maybe you need to hug your knees to chest for a second. Listen to your body. And then only when it feels right, bring your feet down to the mat, bending your knees. And for bridge, when we inhale, our hips come up. And when we exhale, they come back down. And then bringing our arms with it as well. And coming back down. Just really connecting our movement with our breath here. So just do a couple rounds on your own breath. Take it the pace you want to take it, whatever your breath and your body are telling you. Just inhale as you come up. Exhale as you come back down. Inhale and exhale. And whenever you're ready, and only when you're ready, you can grab your block and holding it so that it's kind of not super tall, but like halfway tall. Inhale, bringing your hips up and just sticking it right under your sacrum. So kind of that place where you feel it's almost like a shelf that the block fits perfectly under. And just come down on it and release. We're going to stay here for 10 more breaths. Just releasing, using our breath to move out anything that needs to be moved out of our hip area. Just notice what's going on with your body too. Just get curious about whatever you're feeling. I'm feeling some just interesting sensations in my thighs, which is different. Don't know what it means, just curious about it. That's part of our yoga practice, just curiosity. If you need to stay with it a few more breaths, feel free, but only whenever you're ready will you just kind of pick your hips up just a little bit, slide the block out, and you come back down and hug your knees into your chest just to do the opposite action there. Just roll around, maybe massaging your low back on the floor. Taking little circles if you need to. Wonderful. And letting your feet drop back down to the ground. And you can certainly get your strap if you'd like to go in deeper here, and you totally don't need to. But taking one of your legs up to the sky and crossing it over as we prepare just to do a little bit more hip stretching. And this might be enough sensation, but if you need more, pulling your opposite hamstring into you with your hands. Again, if you're watching this later and you're wondering about how the strap might be used, you can kind of put it over that opposite leg and pull it in just to deepen the stretch a little bit. Wherever the sensation you need is. And then releasing it down when it feels right. And just switching legs. Crossing that other leg over the opposite thigh. That might be totally enough sensation, just a gentle stretch in the hips. If you need more, you can grab that hamstring, pull it in. You can stick the leg up in the air if that feels right to you. You might notice that you need a different sensation on one side than you did on the other. That's okay too. You're listening to your body. And releasing when it feels right and good. And just keeping both of your knees bent. We're going to move into just a little spinal stretch. So picking your hips up just a little bit and moving them over like an inch to the right. So you're going to kind of come down cockeyed on your left hip. And just let your knees finish falling over to the side. They might be stretched out, they might be bent. Wherever you're feeling just a gentle twist in your low back and your spine and those erectors in the bottom part of your torso. And your arms can come out to a T if you want. You can look over one shoulder or the other. Just really kind of imagining like you're a towel that's getting wrung out. Just everything else that you need to flush out of your body right now. And when that feels good, coming back to center, readjusting your hips, and then picking them up and moving them like an inch in the other direction and just letting your knees finish falling over. And again, arms can come out to a T. Find that comfortable place where you're just feeling this gentle twist kind of low in your low back, your spine, and just feels like your towel being wrung out. And when that feels complete, coming back to center. For our very, very, very last thing before we go into Shavasana, you could stay totally right here. And if you'd like to take some kind of an inversion, you can go scoot up to a wall and do legs up a wall. Where you're at, you can simply put your legs in the air. That's called waterfall. If you want to do that, that is still an inversion. If you're watching later and let's see, if you want to do waterfall with a block, you can kind of put your legs up and then you can put even just a low block under your sacrum just to kind of add to that feeling, whatever works for you. Just take a second here to imagine just kind of everything flowing back into your heart, to your center, to where you need it, all the energy you've used today. On a biological level, it's another way to kind of promote lymphatic drainage. So it's like everything is coming back into your center for your organs to do their job. And then I think from an energetic perspective, it's kind of like that last flush out of that first chakra, just really getting us out of survival and moving some of the energy up into our other spaces, moving through those blocks. I'm just taking about 5 more breaths here. If you need a couple extra breaths here, feel free to take them. Whenever you feel complete, you can come back down. You can get ready for Shavasana. If there's anything you need to really just sink into this pose, the quartz pose, as we really just go silent and let our body rejuvenate. Grab it if you need a pillow, if you need a blanket, whatever you need. And just take stock of your body, really centering your attention down kind of the lower half of your body and just noticing if there's anything else you're noticing that feels like a block, anything that feels like there's still tension there. Just breathing as you squeeze it really tight, maybe your whole body. And exhale, release onto the mat. Let your eyes gently close. Take up space if you need to, arms wide, legs wide, if that feels right. And just let yourself sink into about 3 minutes of just complete stillness. Just starting to bring some awareness into your fingers and toes. And you're starting to deepen your breaths, move around a little bit. And picking your favorite side to roll over onto just for a second, just to pause and re-enter the world kind of slowly. Before you get up, just really kind of thinking on what it feels like to do this for your body, to thrive, to not just be in survival mode. Just to lay here for a second. Whenever it feels right, just pushing up to seated, however you want to get there. Maybe you keep your eyes closed, maybe maintain a soft gaze. And just receive for a second. Don't rush into the world. Don't look for anything, just be. Just taking a second to think about anything you need as you move back into the world, anything you need to thrive right now in this moment or right now in this week. Maybe you're thinking big and it's this year. It's the beginning of the year, so we can go there. Just take a second to see if your body needs you to do anything or hear anything. My body's telling me just slow, the word slow, just move slower. So whatever message your body is telling you, just notice it. And whenever you have it, just come back into the room with us. And inhale your arms up. And exhale, hands down to heart center. Just pause a second. Just be thankful for what you did for yourself today. And the badass in me bows with deep gratitude to the badass in you. We are one. Namaste.